Hello, welcome to Steven Shinder Reviews in video form. This is another Star Wars Skeleton Crew review. This time it's episode 3, which is titled Very Interesting as an Astrogation Problem. And it's actually a sentence said in the episode, so it's got me wondering, are all these titles sentences from each episode? I'll have to keep an eye out for that. For those of you who have not seen the episode, I just want to say I really enjoyed this one. Maybe not as much as the first two premiere episodes, but that's the feeling of watching new Star Wars, and if it really makes a good impression on you, the feeling of seeing something new and the joy of that. This one I think was still fun, but uh, maybe not quite on the same height as the first two episodes, and it still felt like it progressed the show like a bit further by this third episode than I was actually expecting. There are certain things in the previous ones where while watching, I thought to myself, okay, I wonder how long they're going to string this along. And then, the pace I think is really good for this show. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say, um, my rating, and then I'll get into spoilers for those of you who have seen the episode, because it's going to be hard for me to talk about it without saying spoilers. But yeah, I think I'd give this one a 7.75 out of 10. It's still really enjoyable, and I'm still really invested in this show. But yeah, so going into this episode, I thought it was a really good uh what's the word? A really good new perspective to show for this type of story. You begin with seeing the parents, their side of how they're reacting to the kids going missing. Within the last couple years, I guested on my friend Jesse's podcast, Question, Possible Answer. One of the things we talked about was the Goonies, and on that episode, I sort of brought up this um, question of like how different would the movie have been if we had kept cutting to the parents' perspectives while the kids were missing and going on their treasure hunt and all that. It'd be kind of a different movie, right? So I was kind of appreciating how we got to see, how the parents are reacting to and doing with all this, hearing from this safety droid, I think it's called, that informs them of the kids having gone beyond the barrier. They're not on Atatin anymore, and seeing how concerned they are. We also see that in these sets of parents, two of them are moms. There's a couple of consisting of two moms, and I think these are KB's moms. And I remember seeing somewhere that someone who had, I guess, seen the first few episodes ahead of time to review them thought that this was too distracting and really bothered them. And to anyone who thinks that, you're a loser, I'm not even sorry to say that you're a sad loser for letting that bother you. For these two moms just simply existing. This is Star Wars. Deal with it. So yeah, again, I really enjoyed that they showed the parents' perspective, and I'm sure well, I could be wrong, but I'm sure that we'll see their perspectives again. I'd like to keep having these little check-ins on how they're dealing with all this and whatnot, but for all I know, I could be wrong, and we might not even see them again until the finale or something. I don't know. I guess we'll see. And we also have Jod, Jude Law's character, and he let the kids believe that he's a Jedi, and you see that there's something off about him. I like how we got to see how the ship looks from the outside, how you could just see how dirty it is, and he's just like really surprised by it, how this wrecked ship that the kids got looked. But yeah, there's a point where he's activating droids, trying to get to SM-33, who I guess is, this was pointed out by someone that the 33 is like two E's, so it's like Smee from Peter Pan. And I guess some people were really bothered by that, but I'm just whatever about it. Like, I think that's kind of fun. And I don't know, it didn't occur to me while watching the premiere, so I don't think it's too distracting. And yeah, I think SM33 is a fun character. I almost called him Smee, but yeah. But yeah, when he's activating droids, one of them is a battle droid, and it turns it off immediately. I think there's another droid who wants to save the prince, and I was wondering what this was all about. Like, is this like a Jedi Prince Easter egg type thing? The Jedi Prince books. I never read them. I only know bits about them, but not really like what the adventure was, but more so continuity related things. So, kind of curious about that, but I don't know. Maybe some of you know better. But yeah, we see that uh, Jod is not what he seems. He thinks that he can really hit it big, get a good, uh, basically he's like getting a huge score. Basically, what Han Solo wanted in A New Hope, right? Like, this is kind of that type of character. It kind of got DJ vibes when they met him in the cell, but DJ was also kind of a riff on that Han Solo, Lando, or scoundrel template character. So, it's very much a part of Star Wars. And when the kids learn that he's not a Jedi later in this episode, he says that we get bits about him. Like, you have this line where he says he can never trust a droid, and that leads me to believe that maybe he saw some stuff during the Clone Wars, because of course the droids were very untrustworthy then, right? Just armies of battle droids. But it could very well be like some separate thing where maybe he trusted a particular droid and then got betrayed, or it was not reliable or something. Like, I don't know. We'll find out eventually. But I do like how SM33 is very much, he's on the side of the kids, and if they want him to protect them, then that's what he'll do. And I like that they weren't the kids stood their ground. They weren't, um, once they knew that he was for sure not a Jedi, they did not just automatically let him back onto the ship. This is after this other character kind of exposes him. This owl looking character named Kim, but of course it's at Star Wars. Kim is spelled in an unconventional way. I really like this alien species. It kind of reminded me of Flix from Star Wars Resistance, kind of a bird like alien, but of course this is a different species and smaller. And I like how Kim can fly, so I hope that there's more of Kim later in this series. But yeah, Kim had called some X-wings to come and get Jod, who was revealed to be someone called Crimson Jack. And yeah, it sounds very much like a scoundrel or pirate type name. It sounds, kind of similar to Crimson Corsair, but of course, I don't think that's the same character. And that's different species altogether. But yeah, he basically tries to tell the kids that he's basically the same as they are. He is lost and alone. And, watching this as an adult, it's easy to get nervous and be like, oh man, I hope these kids are safe. And as they're escaping on the ship and he tells the kids to shoot at the X-Wings, I'd have to look at the dialogue again, but I think the impression I got was he just wanted them to slow down the X-Wings, by firing some lasers to make the X-Wings think that they're being shot at, but not trying to actually shoot them. But I think there was like a shot that may have gotten like a bit of an X-Wing, but not like a lethal shot type thing. But either way, I'd have to watch the sequence again, but either way, I felt a little bit uncomfortable seeing these kids shooting at these X-wings. It kind of brings to mind the Phantom Menace. Anakin blowing up the Trade Federation station or ship or whatever. And while it's mostly droids, there are some lives on there, Neimoidian lives. And yeah, they are on the side of the villains, but this kid having done all that at such a young age, they kind of just gloss over that, don't they? But nobody gets shot down to death here. But yeah, that was kind of something that was sort of nagging at me, I guess, and kind of making me a little nervous. But maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. Maybe a bunch of other fans aren't really thinking about that type of thing. I really don't know. But yeah, they get away, and we also learn a little bit about Atatin that being closed off, and this Old Republic era type stuff. Or I think it was like Old Republic era, which would be thousands of years before this. But yeah, I feel like we're gradually learning at a bit of a quicker pace than I anticipated, and that's pretty satisfying. So, really curious to see where this adventure goes. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe this was like everything I wanted to bring up. But yeah, enjoyable episode. Maybe not as good as the first two, but I'm in this for the ride. I'm enjoying this show, and yeah, I'm really excited to see more Skeleton Crew, where this whole thing goes. So, yeah, that's it for now. Like I said, 7.75 out of 10. And this is Steven Shinder Reviews in video form, and see you all next time.